Namaste. This is Prakasarao Velagapudi, President of Global Hindu Heritage Foundation. So I live in US and I have been there for the last 54 years. I have been involved in a number of things in the academic field as well as religious and spiritual endeavors. So I thought I will just speak a little bit about how Hinduism is spreading in United States and how it is being received by the American public. Because for the last 50-60 years I have witnessed some of the changes, and I thought I will share those ideas and how we are going to make a difference in the United States as well as in India. So I think we need to recognize at least three great souls who paved the way for establishing Hinduism in the United States. So these are the people who really sowed the seed of Hindu Dharma in the land of America. So these three are basically Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and Walt Whitman. I think these are the people who really paved the way for acceptance of Hinduism in the United States. Around 1830s and 40s, Ralph Emerson received a copy of Bhagavad Gita, and when he read that book, he was so astonished, he was so surprised about the serenity, the simplicity, and the breadth of Bhagavad Gita. So he thought that an empire spoke to him. You can imagine the word that he used. The message of Bhagavad Gita, he says, it is as if an empire spoke to him. So that is the kind of impact that he has on his personality, and as a result he kept talking about it to so many other people in Boston, Massachusetts. So the next person who read this book is basically Henry David Thoreau. He is the one who read that and then said, I bathed in the stupendous knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and as a result, so he actually mentioned as if he has taken a bath in the Bhagavad Gita. So he has that kind of impact on his personality. And in fact, Emerson, he not only just Bhagavad Gita, he also read Upanishads, Law of Manu, Law of Vishnu, and so many other books. All these people have read not just only Bhagavad Gita, but many other books. And Thoreau, in fact, he used to go to a pond on the back of his house and used to think that it is like a Ganges, and he used to spend hours and hours deliberating and thinking of Bhagavad Gita. The next person is Walt Whitman, and he is the one who really actually read Bhagavad Gita as well as came to know about yoga and meditation. He is the one who really practiced the yoga. He actually did yoga and he practiced it, and he was so much influenced that he has written a book actually on his experience of reading these Hindu scriptures. And in fact, when you read some of his books, you feel that he really experienced Kundalini Shakti. And when you read some of the statements, even though at that time he did not know it was the Kundalini Shakti that actually aroused him and then went up and down the nadis. But the way when he described the way whatever experience that he had, many people felt that he really experienced the Kundalini Yoga. So he has that kind of influence. These are the three people I think we have to acknowledge as the people who sowed the seeds of Hinduism that spread actually quite a bit over the last maybe 150, 160 years. Then comes Swami Vivekananda. He attended the World Parliament of Religions, and for 5 days people used to actually throng and then try to touch him because of some of the things that he talked, and because of his clothes, because of his turban, the way he spoke, and they were so much impressed when the first day itself. So by looking at the attraction people had toward Swami Vivekananda, the organizers decided that he is going to be the last speaker, so that way people will remain and listen to all the other lecturers. So that is the impact that he had. And every moment that he is there, even the way he talked, the way he walked, people used to appreciate and then used to clap and used to pay close attention to his speeches. And he mentioned basically, so we are a free religion. We do not condemn anybody. We don't basically abuse anybody. We always think of all religions giving the same message. So he feels that all the religions actually go and merge in a particular sea. So that way these are all different streams going into the sea. So he didn't really find that much difference. He used to even say that all the religions are same. So anyway, let us go to the some of the comments people have made during that time when he was attending Parliament of Religions. So in fact, one of the journalists mentioned some of the things based on what Swami Vivekananda said. He said his message is as wide as heaven. And so you can imagine he is comparing his wisdom and his message to heaven. And one of the Detroit newspapers actually commented by saying, after they listened to Swami Vivekananda and the breadth and the depth of the Hinduism and its serenity, its broad-mindedness, its tolerance, its patience, they said, the Detroit newspaper said, we should be ashamed of sending the missionaries to India when India is so rich in the culture and in the literature, in the scriptures. So that is the kind of impact Swami Vivekananda had. Of course, he stayed for 2-3 years. He crisscrossed the country. He went to so many places. He attracted so many disciples. And then later on, 1902 actually, Swami Ramtirtha also came, and he spoke about Bhagavad Gita and many scriptures. He also went and to so many different places in the United States and talked about the richness of our culture. So around 1920, Paramahamsa Yogananda came to the United States at the request of his guru, Yukteswar, and he stayed until he really left his body, and in between he talked about the greatness of Bhagavad Gita and also taught yoga and meditation. He is known for yoga and meditation, and he started an ashram in California, and many American people actually attended his lectures, and they have practiced the yoga and meditation in many years. Even though he left his body so many years ago, still that ashram is very powerful, and many people attract, and American has become a successor of him, and they are doing great work even today. In many of his lectures, you will be surprised to find him say how to control your mind. Mind is the most important thing that we have to address ourselves in order to live happily. So if we can control the mind, we can control almost anything. So that's the reason he wanted to see that mind is controlled by yoga and meditation. when you meditate, it's very difficult to control the mind. It is chanchala. It keeps moving. It waves. It will never stay in one place. So that is the technique that he tried to teach. That is called Kriya Yoga. He was teaching for many, many years. So after Paramahamsa Yogananda, so you will see so many other Swamijis. Then Maharishi Mahayogi actually came, and who is the one who actually started the university also in the United States, Maharishi Mahayogi University. They have done a lot of research, the scientific research on this quantum physics, because almost all the scriptures that we have, they have been actually received by many, many, many scholars. If you look at some of the Nobel laureates, whenever they have some issue of continuing their research, because no matter how intelligent and how knowledgeable and wisdom that you may have, somewhere along the line you will get stuck. So you have to think of how to revive that particular enthusiasm. Many people used to go to our Hindu scriptures, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. So as soon as they read that particular book, the Bhagavad Gita or Upanishad, they used to get the ideas and they used to continue. Number of people who have acknowledged the importance of all these Hindu scriptures in promoting or in trying to complete their research. So Maharishi Mahayogi, and then he also started this yoga and Maharishi Yoga, and so a lot of people actually took those courses, and many film producers, many actors and actresses, and many business people actually take these courses even today because of the influence. He is the one who was able to attract the Beatles in 1960s. They were the sensation, and so they actually came to India also, and so actually spent some time here, and some of them have become even Hindus. Then later on you will see Swami Rama. He also came, and he in fact one of the persons who was able to prove that he can control the breath. And so in Kansas there is one hospital. They wanted to test whether it can be done or not. There is a book written about that one also, and so in the hospital they put all the tubes and everything else to monitor his heart rate, and so after about only a minute or so they asked him to stop, because they were afraid something might happen, but nothing has happened. For 1 minute he was able to stop the breath, and they were able to prove it, and so they actually wrote a book on the whole process, how he was able to control and how they have tested it to prove that he was able to control it without any breathing. So he was the one who actually scientifically he provided that scientific evidence to some of these universities. And then comes Chinmayananda, and then also that Prabhupada in 1969. Prabhupada is the one who started the Hare Krishna movement, ISKCON temples. Within a short span of 20 years, he built more than 100 temples, the Hare Krishna temples all across the globe, and he attracted so many people into his fold. And in fact, the grandson of Ford company, Ford, he actually became Hindu, and in fact he built one temple in Tirupati also. So a lot of people followed the Swami Prabhupada. And further later on you will see other Swamijis who come. Dayananda Saraswati also started Arsha Vidya Kurukulam, and then the Ganapati Sachidananda Swamiji came, and a lot of other Swamijis followed. And by this inflow of so many Swamijis coming for the last 30-40 years, they were able to build so many temples all across the United States. I would say there are more than 1,000 temples built so far, and in fact not only the temples based on the Agama Shastra and Shilpa Shastra, but there are temples which you will see even in the shopping malls also, and so that way nearby people can go and do their prayers. So for the last 30-40 years, many temples have been built in the United States, making them available to not only Hindus but all the other non-Hindus also in the United States. And in 1965, there is a gentleman by the name Richard Alport. So he actually used to be a university professor at Harvard, and somehow he left that job and went to India to find some peace and develop some spirituality. And he goes to Nim Karoli Baba Ashram. He met him, and of course 2-3 times. So there is a long story about how he met and how he changed, how he really transformed himself. And at least 2-3 books are very important for anybody to know how he was transformed and how he changed and how he became a Hindu. Be Here Now, that is one of the books that is very important, anybody interested in knowing how he became Hindu. And then there is the only dance there is another book where he has written that there is nothing in our hand. Basically, we are dancing to the tune of Almighty. We think we are great. We think we are doing all these things. We take so pride in whatever we are doing, and we think without us there is nothing happens. But Richard Alport, he says, it is because of the Almighty, because of this omnipresent presence. That is what is dictating us. We are only dancing to the tune of the God. You are not responsible for what you are doing. So that is the book that he has written, which attracted so many Americans. Along with him, Timothy Leary. So he was a contemporary. He also became devotee, or he became Hindu. He also propagated about Hinduism. And this Richard Alport later on changed his name also to Ramdas. And with that name, you will be able to find so many books that he has written about it. He is still alive. He is around 85 or so. And he lives in Nevada. And he also started Hanuman Temple, and he started Hanuman Foundation, by which he is able to support the temple and then receive all the people. And based on that book, Steve Jobs was also attracted. And in fact, if you look at Steve Jobs' story also, he did not have much to eat, and as a result, when he was in Portland, he used to walk 6-7 miles to go to Hare Krishna temple in order to have a full meal. So that is how he was attracted, or at least came to know about our faith. And then he kept in touch with that book, actually, a lot of these things. And later on, when he started Apple computer, he became very popular, very famous. And then Zuckerberg, who started this Facebook. So after 3-4 years, he was somewhat disenchanted, somewhat tired. So he wanted to quit, but he went and approached Steve Jobs as to what he should do. Then Steve Jobs said, don't worry about it. You just go to India, go and stay for a few days in Nim Karoli Baba Ashram. So Zuckerberg comes and stays for 1 month, and then he gets that kind of spiritual boost and revived his inspiration and became fearless, and then he went back, and then he is still continuing as a CEO of this organization, that is Facebook. And around 2009, so there is an article came in the Newsweek magazine. It is written by Lisa Miller, and the title of that article is "We Are All Hindus Now." That is the title. Why did she write this article? What are some of the things that are actually spreading in the United States to say that we are all Hindus? So first, I think about 4 or 5 things that we have to look at what she has written. She said one of the things is karma theory. There is no question the karma has become a common word to be used in the United States nowadays. Everybody talks about karma. So this karma concept has actually penetrated the United States. So at one time, most of the Christians, most of the other religious people used to think that God is the one who is doing all the things, and obviously, so an individual does not take any responsibility for whatever actions he has taken. According to our Hindu point of view, it is your karma that makes what you are today or tomorrow. What you are today is because of what you were before. So that karma theory slowly penetrated into American system, because according to Bible, obviously it is the God who is going to basically give you, redeem you, or either they put you in hell or heaven, depending on whatever you are. It is up to the Jesus. But in our case, it is you who is going to do it. Because if you look at from a different point of view, all the religions keep talking about omnipresence, omnipotent, omniscient. God is all loving, all compassionate. If he is so loving and so compassionate, why would he create so many differences in the society, disparities across the globe? Look at different societies. Some societies are poverty driven, whereas some societies are rich. Some people are rich, some people are poor. Some people have good health, some people have not good health. So look at the disparity. Why would a God who is supposed to be compassionate, loving, would create all these people with so much disparity? Obviously, it is not. It is only your karma. Whatever you do, that is what you are going to get back, either in this life or in the next life. So that concept has really infiltrated in the United States. So next concept is reincarnation. So almost about 25% of the people in the United States believe in life after death. So lots of research. The voluminous research has been done on this particular topic. There is one gentleman by the name Evan Stevenson. He spent nearly 60 years of his life studying about the reincarnation cases all across the globe, not just only India. Because somebody may, well, since Indians believe in reincarnation, it only happens in India. That is not the case. Even in the United States, in the Europe, in the African countries, in Islamic countries, everywhere you will find actually the reincarnation cases. So that means, so basically we are trying to prove whatever our scriptures have told us, they have some scientific evidence to prove it. Our ancient rishis have actually dealt with all these topics and they were able to present it to all of us. Mark Twain actually went to India around 1890s, and he made one very important statement. He said, there is not a single thing under the sun under the sun that our rishis have not addressed. There is not a single thing under sun our rishis have not addressed. So that means if you look at the variety of topics our rishis talked about, it is almost unlimited. Any topic you Google, you will find some research, actually some documentation by our ancient scriptures. That is the kind of impact this reincarnation research also has. And in the same way, the spirituality is growing to a large extent, because spirituality means you don't have to believe in a particular God or anything like that one. So how do you improve yourself? Your self-realization, self-improvement. So that is the most important thing in life. So that is the one that gives you peace of mind and how you can adjust to other circumstances. And then yoga and meditation, the major contribution of Hindu dharma to almost the rest of the world, not just only in the United States. In the United States, more than 20% of the people practice yoga and meditation. So many thousands and thousands of yoga centers all across the United States, and then meditation centers. And many universities have done so much research. All the top 20 universities in the country, in the United States, have done research on the impact of yoga and meditation. So once you practice doing it, so how your brain cells actually compiles, how they form, and how they actually maintain some kind of calm, and it is proven by scientific evidence. So by doing also yoga and meditation, so they are able to prove your physical benefits and health benefits also. If you look at health benefits, almost any disease that you can think of, even Alzheimer's disease, okay, and any kind of cancer and many ailments, they are actually cured by practicing certain types of yogas. And in the same way, physical exercise also. So many people were able to actually use this one in order to have physical health. So physical and mental as well as health benefits you will see by practicing yoga and meditation. That has really spread in the United States. And in 2016, that we all know, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, and requested United Nations actually to declare June 23rd as International Yoga Day. Since that time, so the yoga spread almost all across the globe, not just only in the United States. So along with it, the vegetarianism is another one that has spread in the United States. So many people have become vegetarians. So when we went in 1965 to United States, so we could not find one vegetarian dish anywhere in any of the places. Now you will see in almost all the places vegetarian dishes, and then of course we have so many Indian restaurants and all that promoting the vegetarianism. So many scholars have been talking about the benefits of vegetarianism. And in fact, there is a place called Midland in Texas that is supposed to be the beef eating capital of the United States. So they used to have so many, they have so many cases of this heart diseases, and many people go to the hospitals with all the heart problems and all that. So about 2 years ago, the hospitals have decided to prepare a booklet talking about the advantages of vegetarian food. And they actually tell the patients, now you are at this stage, you are going to likely to have more problems if you don't stop eating meat or beef. So these are the advantage of eating vegetarianism. So even in a city which is considered capital of beef eating, so now even the hospitals and all the scholars are trying to promote vegetarianism, so that way people will live a healthy life. So that is some of the things that this article has said. one more thing. So cremation of the body also, the rate of cremation is increasing in the United Nations. This is again, you will find it in this article. She said this, Lisa Miller said, 1/3 of dead bodies are being cremated now than before. So it is increasing day by day. Not only, even though we cremate, it doesn't really constitute 1/3 of the population. So as a result, many Americans are also using this particular method to dispose of the body. So that is the cremation. And many other things, as I mentioned, many temples are built, and many parents are actually taking their children to the temples in order to expose them. And nowadays, many temples are also giving some lectures, and we have our own, many temples have Sunday schools where children can go and learn about Hinduism. So this is basically for the ages 5 through 14 and 15 years of age. So many Chinmaya Mission has started this one, and then the Ananda Saraswati has some, Shirdi Sai Baba, Satya Sai Baba group has some of these Sunday schools, Ganapat Satchidananda Swamiji, then Baladatta, they have also Sunday schools. So almost across the United States, the major temples are conducting Sunday schools for the children. So that way, so they will be exposed to the richness and the greatness of our culture, that is Hindu Dharma. Swaminarayan Temple, they also have become part of this whole process. They built so many huge temples. They have their own Sunday schools also. They have also started teaching few things for the children. And there is another study that is done recently by Philip Goldberg, American Veda, that is the book. So that also actually detailed about the growth of Hinduism over the last maybe 1 century. So there are many scholars. Of course, you have probably many, if you are aware that many movie actors as well as others are converted to Hinduism. If you look at David Frawley, he is actually received Padma Bhushan, and he became Hindu, and he has written at least 20-25 books. And then George Harrison, one of the Beatles, was a Hindu, and then Russell Brand was also a Hindu, and Will Smith, I think one of the persons many have probably know about him. So he also actually did the Abhishekam recently, only in the last 2 months. And many other actors and actresses also actually became Hindus. Whether they become Hindus or not, that is not important, because we don't believe in conversion. But many people have adopted the tenets of Hinduism, this tolerance, this patience, the love and affection, and then dialoguing and proving scientifically what our religion has been saying for so many centuries. I think with this one, we are hoping that United States will be a better country with exposure to so many principles of Hinduism, which also includes ahimsa. During George Bush time, actually Diwali was declared as was recognized as a Hindu festival. So for the last 12-13 years, so the White House celebrates actually Diwali. About 2 years ago, the United States government issued Diwali stamp also, so where you can just mail the letters by using Diwali stamp. So there are many things. In California, textbook case is a very classic example of how Hindus are being active and promoting Hinduism. So there are many groups in California who have contested the material that is written in the books about Hinduism, and they have successfully actually convinced the government to change the textbooks, so that way all the negativity about Hinduism is removed from the textbooks. So activism is important. Not only we need to know about our Hinduism, we have to take part in it and try to support it and promote it. Annie Besant, who said, if Hindus do not support Hinduism, who will support it? If Hindus do not practice it, who will practice it? India and Hinduism, one and the same. If you lose Hinduism, you lose the whole humanity. So that is the kind of statement Anne Besant actually mentioned. So let us remember her words in order to preserve our culture, because our culture and our dharma would not discriminate anybody, would not condemn anybody, would not kill anybody. So this is the message that we Hindus actually are giving to all the people in the United States, and this is the message we as Hindus in India should learn and try to see that we all practice it and support it, instead of actually criticizing without having any scientific base or evidence. Namaste.